Arguably, the biggest transit of the entire year occurs on Tuesday, April 12th, when Jupiter and Neptune come together in the sign of Pisces. This energy has the power to inspire you, expand your vision, and bring the realization of your dreams. What not to like? Let's talk about it in more depth and break it down for each sign. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive readings. You can book a reading with me at the link down below, and you can follow me on Instagram and on TikTok if you're curious to see more of my work. Please subscribe to my channel if you're new here. Leave me a like or a comment. I really appreciate all of the support and contact I have with you guys. Before I dive in talking about this major exciting transit, wanted to tell you that since now is Aries season, I am doing 20% off my 60-minute natal and solar return readings. You can book them at my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. Aries natal is the coupon code for 60-minute natal reading, and Aries solar is the coupon code for solar return readings. So take advantage of that. This transit culminates on Tuesday, April 12th, but the energy is pretty much present the entire month. We're feeling it. A lot has been building up towards it. So maybe the changes that you can see bloom on April 12th or close to April 12th, let's say the week before, the week after, are the changes that you have been putting a lot of work into throughout the entire year. This is very, very important because it only happens once every 13 years. And last time it happened in Pisces was 166 years ago. So we're not getting another one in our lifetime. And two planets are connected to Pisces, right? Jupiter is a traditional ruler of Pisces. Neptune is a modern ruler. And when you put the two together, there's a lot of sparks, a lot of power, a lot of imagination. Jupiter is the greater benefic of the zodiac. It's connected to optimism, faith, believe in things getting better, right? Like Jupiter just has that sense of like things will improve, things will get better. And Neptune is connected to dreams and illusions, right? It kind of dissolves all the boundaries. It washes away sometimes, good things. So it washes away all the challenges we have. It makes us believe things a lot more. So the two of them coming together, both dealing with faith and imagination. Whatever we focus on, whatever we imagine grows bigger. So it's highly encouraged to believe good things, right? Because right now, faith matters a lot more than hard, cold, stone facts. Even if in the past you knew that to get a job, you need to know someone at the company, right now, believing in the fact that you will get the job, and of course, applying, don't just sit there and be like, but it's Jupiter, Neptune conjunction, like do things. But if you believe in it, there's more of a chance that things will happen for you. We can experience spiritual renewal, a sense of healing through spirituality. Astrology can be extremely powerful in understanding oneself and connecting with oneself, even in bettering relationships, right? Connecting with other people. This is a great time for therapy, for meditation, for rituals like a new moon, full moon rituals, for creating a bracelet, right? Like right now, this energy is in the air. So if you put it towards making something that you can carry around with you, like a jewelry or even, writing your wishes on the piece of paper, there's a lot more power for that. Becoming a healer is part of that energy, like if you wanted to share your gifts with other people, because we naturally feel a lot more empathy. Both of those planets, and Pisces is the intuitive sign. So you feel that desire to give back. You feel a desire to connect with other people. You feel their pain, which sometimes might be tough because if you're surrounded with people who are in a victim mode, right? Or constantly maybe draining your energy, you want to be careful there. But on the positive, all of the charitable pursuits, all of the social kind of justice pursuits can be highlighted. And it's actually very hopeful. I'm very hopeful about what's happening with Russia and Ukraine, that there might be some kind of resolution there, the peaceful resolution. There's some historic precedents, which I'll talk about in a minute. Your imagination expands, right? Wonderful for all creative individuals, artistic, beauty, kind of like your sense for beauty becomes enhanced, almost like you get extra smell for beautiful things and you're able to create things. We may see changes to art and fashion. Funny enough, but last time this happened in 1856 when Jupiter and Neptune conjoined in the same sign in Pisces. The color for textiles was invented, and finally people got the ability to change the color of their clothes, right? Imagine just wearing like gray or natural colors, and now we're able to, like, I'm wearing a blue leopard dress, right? So back when that happened in 1856, people got access to like this, there was this brand new explosion of color and beauty, and like reinvention of beauty. So we can experience similar things. So if you are a creative individual, and even if you're not, maybe you take up baking or you paint or you do something like unusual that makes you feel excited, you go dancing. Relationships will benefit from this because you're more forgiving, you're more generous and more understanding with your partner. So you can definitely experience some sense of spiritual connection, soulful connection. You may meet people who are spiritual around this time, people who share their wisdom with you, teachers, mentors, bosses. People can be sort of like guiding you in life. And of course, the realization of the dreams. That's why whatever you believe in, whatever you're focusing on is growing. So make sure you're growing good seeds. On the negative, of course, no transit is ever 100% good, 100% bad. There's always challenges. So challenges with Jupiter and Neptune is the lack of boundaries. You're generous, you're giving, you're caring towards other people, but you may have less of a power to choose who's worth and who's not worth your time. So be careful when it comes to dating new people. Even if you meet someone who, it's good to be grounded a little bit, but allow yourself to pursue the fantasy to some extent, right? Just make sure you don't give them all your money. Say you meet an artist, he's like the most romantic connection you've ever felt, but they have no money and they ask you for some. Like, kind of stay a little bit grounded, right? There might be a sense of like floating away on the wave. I'm also very much thinking of some like hippie, drug-induced fantasy when it comes to this transit, which, like, tripping on mushrooms or something like that. As you may know, I've never done any drugs, so I do not know what that feels like, but there is some sense of like psychedelic fantasy and things coming true. But just, you need a sense of precaution, right? Like, you need to be like a little bit careful. Avoid overdoing it with like substances that alter your state, like alcohol, drugs, overeating. There's just like less kind of like tendency to control yourself, and you don't want to do something you will regret later. Believing in false ideals, following people who maybe you normally wouldn't listen to. You just need to kind of exercise a sense of caution a little bit, and maybe if you feel unsure about certain things, go talk to someone who has more understanding. There might be a sense of like things being blown out of proportion, both in media and in your life. And finally, because Pisces is a water sign, Neptune is connected to the ocean, there might be issues with water. So, like pipes leaking, maybe even raining a lot, flooding. Hopefully it's not gonna go that far, but watch out for especially like Sag risings, because Pisces is your 4th house. Like, make sure you have like protection in your home from like leaks. But yeah, there might be a sense of like issues with water. So to mention history, there's so much fascinating stuff. So last time this conjunction happened would have been May 2009. And it happened in Aquarius. So Aquarius is a progressive sign, scientific, right? Kind of looking forward into the future, having strong ideas. So things that were happening at the time were just like so interesting because there was a Hubble telescope repair. So of course, right, Aquarius, space, going out into the unknown. I mean, the beyond, right, like fixing the telescope, very appropriate. There was the Eurovision Song Contest, and the winner, Alexander Rybak, won with a song named Fairy Tale. How appropriate for Jupiter and Neptune conjunction. Following more than a quarter century of fighting, the Sri Lankan Civil War ended, to quote Wikipedia. And there were some more challenging things, like there was an outbreak of the swine flu, which is more complicated, and Michael Jackson passed away. But Michael Jackson passing away also, I think, like created a wave of like love, like Neptunian kind of like desire to support altruism and care. Greenland gained self-rule, which I don't know a ton about, but it seems also very Aquarian to me, like wanting to, separate. And earlier that same year, Barack Obama was inaugurated a president, which is a major event for him and for the American history. So, but last time it happened in Pisces, which was 186 years ago, back in March of 1856, like I said, there was an invention of textile paint, which is an amazing thing. I'm so curious to see what might happen in social media, photography, art, music, if we're in for some kind of exciting new beginning. I believe also when the conjunction happened in Capricorn in 1984, the Never Ending Story came out, which also is such like a trippy movie. But what is exciting, what is something that is worth looking forward to, is that back in March 1856, when this conjunction happened in Pisces, there was the treaty, something called the Treaty of Paris, signed, which brought an end to the Crimean War, which was the conflict for Crimea between the Russian Empire and an alliance of the Ottoman Empire, Great Britain, the Second French Empire, and the Kingdom of Sardinia. So there was a conflict, right, which is so similar to what's happening right now, and there was a peaceful resolution. Russia got access to Crimea and Sevastopol and like other towns, but there was like limited, not on all the conditions that Russia desired. So let's see what's going to happen at this time. Hopefully it's very similar. Hopefully there is like a withdrawal of troops and a peaceful treaty. What you can do to maximize this transit, before I start talking about each sign, you can start creative projects, make a video, join TikTok, do things that you want to do but doubt yourself. If you feel insecure, you can build up a lot of security and confidence by just like taping yourself, speak, let's say, or share knowledge that you have and putting it on social media. Trust others, find ways to give back. Imagine and believe that your dreams will come true, and maybe even act as if they have already come true. That whole like fake it till you make it. Look for inspiration by watching water, by being in the nature, by watching inspirational movies, and work on healing. This could be like, therapy, meditation, journaling, writing letters to your ancestors, letting things go. Lovely. So now let's talk about every rising sign and do like a brief overview of what you might expect. For Aries rising, Pisces is the 12th house, and Jupiter rules your 9th and your 12th. So 12th house is spiritual place. It's the last house. So there might be some kind of spiritual renewal. Maybe you discover Buddhism, or you reconnect with with your religion, maybe you find something outside of yourself that is the source of light, right? Like if you may have, my closest friend, one of my closest friends is an Aries rising, and she dealt with loss in her family and she wasn't feeling too inspired. So if you've been stuck in that place where you're feeling kind of dark, look outside of yourself, look at spirituality, listen to like videos on YouTube of Thich Nhat Hanh or other spiritual guides. You may find some answers there. There might be a desire to give back. 12th house deals with people who feel isolated. It's classically, it's the last place, the last house, the place of isolation. So, and people can be isolated for various reasons. Sometimes they're struggling to get access to water. Other times they're having mental issues. So helping people in need, even helping people in, volunteering or sending money to charity that deals with Ukraine or other crisis or situation you feel passionate about. Becoming a teacher, becoming a healer, diving into astrology, spirituality, tarot, and taking that on, because Jupiter also rules your 9th house, right? So like 12th house immediately gets connected to teaching, and you can become a good teacher or a spiritual practitioner. For Taurus rising, Jupiter conjoins Pisces in the 11th house, and it also rules the 8th house. 11th house is our hopes and dreams. So quite literally, there might be a realization of a dream or a plan that you've been working on for a while. It's also the house of groups. It's the house of other people. So you can definitely be collaborating with others, perhaps on spiritual projects. For example, Atuda Bava of Nightlight Astrology talked on his channel about, he was kind of promoting a class that his teachers, his spiritual teachers, were offering, and that class was on a donation basis. So there might be a sense that like you might do something for the group. You're leading the group, you're helping the group, you're starting a nonprofit organization, you're giving back. Even if you may feel a pull to offer some of your services, some of your work, some of the items you're selling at a discounted price, for example, or you may try to use some of your work to assist people who truly need it, to maybe doing some kind of giveaway or something like that. Definitely look for ways to collaborate and work with others. For Gemini risings, this conjunction occurs in the 10th house, and Jupiter rules your 7th as well. So there's new beginnings professionally, there's professional expansion, and perhaps taking on careers and jobs that make your soul feel happy, letting go of a job or a project that feels draining and exhausting. You may see yourself collaborating with other people, even starting a business with your spouse is a possibility here, as Jupiter rules your 7th house of marriage. Choosing careers that not only make you happy but benefit the world somehow. For example, if you've been working in TV industry, right, and you decide to write like a book about it, or you decide to offer some advice, some courses to people that are only trying to make it. There might be creative new beginnings and a desire to do something imaginative and inventive in your career, and a sense of inspiration. I think like a renewal of faith in yourself, and finally maybe taking a leap on something that you've been postponing or feeling uncertain about. For Cancer rising, this conjunction happens in the 9th house, and Jupiter also rules your 6th house. So 9th house is the outside world. 9th house is travel, education, philosophy, faith, religion. So there might be gains in the sector of education. Maybe you get a scholarship and you go travel somewhere for school. Maybe you start your PhD. Maybe you graduate. Maybe you get into college finally. Like, if you've been going through like a hassle of figuring things out, you get into school, your application gets applied. There's definitely exciting possibilities when it comes to expanding your mind. Giving back to your school, or helping people who are studying, like if you are one of the rich people, maybe you start your own scholarship or your foundation that helps people go to their school of choice. Maybe you teach, maybe you decide to share your knowledge somehow, your professional knowledge. Good luck when it comes to legal matters, especially if you're waiting for a visa or you're waiting on any answer from a foreign person or foreign connection that you're working with. There might be answers there. Yeah, like legal battles can get resolved in your favor. And publishing too. 9th house deals with publishing, so you may see your work published and maybe you get a chance to present it somehow. Teachers can come into your life. 9th house deals with education, so you may meet people who are very much Jupiter and Neptune, like these spiritual, high-minded people that inspire you somehow. For Leo rising, Jupiter conjoins Neptune in the 8th house, and Jupiter rules your 5th and your 8th. So financial gains are possible, even though Jupiter in Pisces is not necessarily too interested in finances. It's a lot more interested in soulful gains, but there's definitely a possibility of money coming into your life from a partner, a business partner, or your spouse. One of my Leo rising clients, like her husband has recently inherited money from his accountant. So that's a very literal example of like money coming your way from someone else. And 8th house deals with inheritance. It also deals with debts and taxes. So you may get a payment, maybe a big tax return, or maybe your debt gets absolved somehow. Like I know it's done sometimes if you're like a doctor or a nurse, you can get your college debt kind of written off. Because Jupiter rules your 5th house and 8th house deals with collaborations, I can also see this as a very inspired time, and your creative collaborations bringing great results and bringing success. You may feel flooded with ideas. Neptune and Jupiter, flood, right? Like you may quite get that like sense of inspiration, boost to your imagination. There might be a healing in store for you because 5th house deals with children, 8th house deals with therapy. So maybe you are addressing your wounds and healing your inner child, or, 5th house dealing with children, there might be some kind of like major financial investments into a child. Like maybe you decide to get pregnant and you start IVF, or you have a child and you invest money into their future. You start like a college fund for them. There might be a sense with like 8th house, Jupiter and Neptune, of escaping tough situations through like sudden blessings, things kind of, like almost catching you, but you get out of them. And joining resources with your romantic partner is a possibility too. Maybe open a joint bank account. Be careful here, because the tendency might be to give everything you've got without thinking. So if you are starting a business collaboration with someone, make sure you don't invest all of your money and you have like a safety net. For Virgo rising, I can see big new beginnings, exciting things happening romantically, because Jupiter rules your 7th and your 4th house and conjoins with Neptune in your 7th house of partnerships and marriage. So any kinds of developments romantically, meeting a partner, someone who's highly spiritual, high-minded, philosophical, can teach you something, moving a relationship to a different level if you have been one, maybe getting married, getting engaged, definitely is a possibility for those Virgo risings who are in a relationship. Starting partnerships that deal with education, maybe you start teaching a course or you start a podcast with someone that you know and you share your knowledge through that podcast. There's also a chance of kind of like releasing a relationship. And if you do, it's likely going to be very positive because Jupiter and Neptune, Venus will be there at the same time. It might just be like a sense of we're better off separately. And maybe there's that sense of like healing something, healing a relationship, healing family karma, realizing that what your childhood looked like or what your parental relationship looked like doesn't define your future or what your future relationship will be like. Partnerships that help and heal other people definitely is a possibility, not just teaching. And meeting teachers, meeting spiritual people is highly likely as well. Your partner may benefit through this transit too, because 7th house is the house of other people. So there might be your partner getting excited about something, getting a new job, feeling more enlightened, spiritual, uplifted, and maybe the changes that you're going through come from them. For Libra risings, this conjunction is happening in the 6th house, and Jupiter rules your 6th and your 3rd houses. So for Libra risings, this could be about work. There might be a flood of work and a lot of things to do. You will feel inspired and called to serve other people, because 6th house is the house of service. It's the house of giving back. So giving your time, giving your energy to other people, maybe offering some kind of deal to your clients, giving them guidance, giving them advice. Somehow you may use your skills, you may use your hands to produce something, because 3rd house is the house of your skills and hobbies. Health is highlighted at this time. Really good health, or investing into your health, some kind of new diet, new exercise routine, I don't know, spending money, starting a health account, getting an insurance, definitely possibility of healing, right? Or investing into health. Maybe you overcome an ailment that you've been struggling with for a while. Professional partnerships I can see as well. And maybe a kind of renewal in your professional relationships with your coworkers, kind of reconnecting with them or connecting with them on a deeper level. For Scorpio risings, this happens in the 5th house, and I see babies. I see babies in your future. Not necessarily, not for all Scorpio risings, but there's definitely, it's as fertile as it gets. Normally Jupiter in the 5th house is fertility, but then you put Jupiter and Neptune together and there is even more fertility. So if you're not interested in having children, use triple layer of protection. But you can be having babies or getting pregnant or having conversations about babies, starting investing money into your children, because Jupiter also rules your 2nd house. Working with children, there might also be a pull to connect with kids in your life or outside of your life. Maybe you want to teach, you want to volunteer, you want to inspire them somehow. Romantic renewal, new beginnings, a sense of connecting with your partner on a better level, kind of healing the connection. There could be a very magical Venus is there at the same time. Venus is the planet of love in the house that she rejoices in. So romance, children, creativity are very highlighted. So, there might be creative new beginnings and starting projects that will bring you kind of success. Very sexually active time too for Scorpio risings, which I think you'll feel happy about as a Scorpio rising sign. For Sag risings, there's a renewal, there's exciting energy in the house of home and family. Jupiter rules your 1st and it rules your 4th house. So expansion of the home, buying a property, investing into a property. A Sag rising I know has been dealing with a home expansion. How literal, right? She moved in with a guy that she's been dating for a while, and they realized that there's not enough space, so they've been expanding the home. So maybe the project completes, right? Maybe you move. Maybe you feel pulled to go somewhere else, because the changes are happening to your identity and to your home and family. So it's very literal, right? If you've been born and raised in New York and you move to Florida, you become a New Yorker in Florida. So you have to figure a lot of things out. So changes to your life through the home. Maybe you just feel inspired to change your walls, to change the pillows in your house. There might be that kind of like decorator waking up inside of you, and you're like, this is me. If you're trying to sell your property, this is a lovely time. If you are trying to become a realtor or someone who deals with like property, I don't know, who deals with property, like people who, you know, when you're buying a home, they like check everything out. So if you wanted to do that, if you know what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, but kind of like working with land and property, or even working with like family and history, archaeology, there might be kind of new beginnings there. Being interested in your family history, discovering family secrets, and also being very kind of like forgiving towards family members, I can see as well. Healing tough relationships. Family might expand. You can also get pregnant, right? I'm like, just everyone gets pregnant. From Scorpio to Capricorn, pregnancy. I mean, not with this energy for Capricorn, but Cap risings can get pregnant with the eclipse in their 5th house. Anyway, so Sag risings, there might be a sense of your family expanding. Maybe your mom moves in with you. Maybe you get pregnant. Maybe you move in with your partner. There's just like changes in your home family. And be careful with the rain. Like, make sure you have flooding insurance or property insurance, because there's a chance of like pipes leaking or just kind of being, you know, surrounded by water or dealing with water issues. For Cap risings, this conjunction happens in the 3rd house, and Jupiter rules your 3rd and your 12th. So 3rd is our ideas. It's our immediate environment, everything we do on a daily basis. Who we buy coffee from, who we text with, the car we drive, the stops we make. And there might be a sense of renewal and excitement there. So as far as ideas go and your mind goes, there might be kind of a sense of feeling inspired, right? Like inspired to share your knowledge with other people, inspired to talk to your neighbors, for example, and connect with your neighbors on a different level. To start a blog is a possibility here, to learn something new, because you're upgrading your daily life. Relationships, if you've faced any difficulties with neighbors or siblings or sibling-like relationships, you know, if your friend has been struggling, if you've been bumping heads with your neighbors, there might be a resolution there. I think you're also learning to let go of all the negative thinking, because Jupiter rules your 12th house, and you're learning to believe in yourself and your ideas and your place in the world. Opportunities may be coming your way through siblings and neighbors, and this might be a wonderful chance for you to give back to your neighborhood somehow, or to give back to your neighbor or your sibling, to connect with them and look for help and support in that relationship. For Aqua risings, this conjunction happens in the 2nd house, money, 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 and Jupiter rules your 2nd and 11th. So good luck with money. On a literal level, well, money is very literal, right? Like maybe you get a bonus, maybe you get a pay raise, or you get a return on investment, or a big tax return. You may be spending money quite generously too. So be careful that you're not spending money on things that you don't need. But donating money, helping people in need, helping family, forgiving debts or having debts forgiven, where you don't have to pay a debt, are definitely possibilities here. Looking for ways to make money through spirituality is very possible. You may feel a sense of like whatever you're working on is not necessarily what you want to be known for. So maybe you feel like a sense of pursuing things that are more spiritual, that are more like spiritual, like astrology, tarot, you know, pursuing those things. Selling candles, making astrological talismans. There's a lot of possibilities. And starting group projects is a possibility here. Or because 2nd house deals with values and feeling valued, there might also be like a sense of connecting with friends or finding support, feeling a sense of belonging, and your confidence building through that as a result. Last but not least, the most exciting transit of them all, or the most exciting manifestation, is Pisces rising. Because for you, this transit happens in the first house, and Jupiter also rules your 10th. So Pisces rising people have been going through a lot of inner changes, right? Like professional new developments, embracing the role of a teacher, becoming more visible somehow, like stepping up. There's also, of course, still like dealing with some past that with Saturn in your 12th house that you're addressing. But there is a sense of reinvention of yourself. There's a sense of investing into your future. And April might bring a culmination of that. It may bring, recognition. And if you've been looking for a job, you find the job. If you've been studying, you graduate. If you have been pursuing success on social media, you can get success on social media. Changes to your look are possible too. Maybe they're connected to your career. Like maybe you've always, what would be changes to the look connected to a career? Maybe you've wanted to wear a military uniform and now you become a police officer and you sort of wear a military uniform. Or, like you work in a place where you cannot have like super long hair, so you decide to cut your hair. So changes to the look, changes to the body, choosing well-being is a possibility. But I think very much you're embodying this energy. You're embodying this generous, altruistic, creative energy. And you want to be a teacher, you want to be a guide to other people, and you can be a source of light and support to others. But of course, be careful with overwhelming yourself, overdoing it, and having bad boundaries. What an exciting transit, right? There's a lot to look forward to. Try to keep one foot on the ground, like in the Star Tarot card, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. And enjoy. Talk to you soon. Bye.